Christian Men's Illustrated, the podcast, is Jeremiah Johnson alongside Greg Walden in the house. Here we go. I only have one thing to say to start off the show. I have the power, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Masters of the Universe opened up this weekend in the box office. I did a quick YouTube short on our YouTube channel review of it. And I'll start off you want to start off the good news or the bad news, I guess?
Don't spoil it because I haven't watched it
yet. Yeah. But I'll start off with the bad news. The bad news is, and I don't think all the final numbers are in, but it opens with a $29.3 million opening in North America and a $54.3 million global opening, which is
not good.
Not good, for a big epic film. Yeah. Consider that the movie cost $170 million to make. So, I mean, it'll probably be in the theaters it's probably going to make $170 million for sure, globally. Yeah. And then your money's made from streaming, however those particular numbers work, which I don't exactly know. But yeah, I'm a little, so I'm trying to get the revival going on. I was even at church yesterday, you got to go see it. Please go watch it. And so anybody watching this video, please go see Masters of the Universe so we can get a sequel, okay? Because like I said, there's multiple end credit scenes that definitely speak to that they for sure have in mind, that they for sure want to do one. They have a storyline, they have a character, etc. So please go see the movie. I want to see it. I thought it was great. So we're going to kick off with that. Again, I touched on it beforehand. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, they better go sell a lot of toys too.
Right, and sell a lot of toys. I didn't Google that with the toy. But, the reviews leading up to it, so, as one who makes YouTube videos, I watch a lot of YouTube, and so my thing that I do is when a new movie comes out I really want to see, I'll typically go watch a couple YouTube videos, to prep myself for it, so i.e. Master of the Universe, just kind of get myself reacclimated with storyline, characters, so with some of the YouTube channels, what they're saying about it, because they're typically getting a little bit of early access and those kind of things. So the early reviews weren't overly negative. There was some indifference on it.
Yeah.
And those that saw the movie, the overall vibe was pretty good. But here the numbers aren't explosive and it's not a banger opening weekend. So I'm a little disappointed by that. I just thought it was great. I'm saying at the lowest, being super, super critical, 8 out of 10. And just a 9 out of 10 for me. Not 10 out of 10, but pleasant. I thought it was like a fun, cinematic. Definitely, this is a movie to see in the theater for sure. This is a movie that's a great in-theater movie. It's a dude movie. Lots of action, great fight scenes. It's totally, again, for us, younger, middle-aged guys, I think we would just love this. And there was nothing overtly where this was like, this is a disaster. Like, to me, there was nothing in the movie that was like, this is a disaster.
So the question is, do you think...
Yeah, maybe ask me some questions.
Do you think that really this movie... Again, this is one of the complaints. I've seen a lot of people complain that unless you're like an old boomer like myself, who grew up with He-Man and stuff like that, then that would attract you. But if you're like a young person who's never really grew up with He-Man or Masters of the Universe, that this movie might not, So what do you think? Do you think this would attract a person who didn't grow up with that He-Man, Masters of the Universe in their childhood?
Number one, if for sure it's for us dudes. Number one, because we grew up with the nostalgia. They tried to weave that line of speaking to times of old, like, for example, old He-Man was in there. What's the name of
Dolph Lundgren?
Dolph Lundgren who makes an appearance.
Yeah.
So there's those things that, as an old school fan, we'd be like, that are speaking to us. That a newer my sons are going to be like, Dolph Lundgren, right, boys? Who are 12.
Yeah, the original He-Man, movie was like, I guess it was like one of the.
That's what I'm saying.
Bombs.
I'm actually surprised they put him in there because that has such bad vibes, and because it is known to be. I don't know one person that could legitimately watch that movie and be like, that's a good movie.
Spooky Skeletor.
Right. So, but they tried to speak to a younger generation. Yeah. I don't know that they did that well.
Okay.
And some of the complaints is that they made too much mention of the past in a negative way. For example, there's a scene towards the end of the movie where basically they're saying He-Man creates names for all of them. Like he calls Fisto Fisto, and Fisto's like, "What? That's not my name." He's like, "Well, that's what I called you. That's the name I made up for you." So they're kind of poking fun at the names, and then like, "Well, did you make up a name for yourself?" He's like, "No, yeah, well, He-Man." He-Man, ha ha ha. You know, so it's some people didn't like that so was maybe, a little too corny.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was bad though. I was like, because you have to like that, and that is the problem. This is the problem with Star Wars, right? Is that you have to somehow reach to the past and push to the future, and it seems like we can never satisfy both parties.
Right? Because like one else, like, well, you're trying to peel this. It's a hard thread to fun thing. And do you think this movie made kind of tongue in cheek, making fun of itself a little bit there?
It absolutely did. And again, for those of you, if I could give you a reference point, if you've seen Thor, the recent Thor movies, and Guardians of the Galaxy, they were kind of going for that, I would say, color scheme and that type of, pardon my hipster language, that type of vibe. Meaning that they tried to throw in the comedy, they tried to make it serious, lots of action scenes, but then, in some of the most serious moments, then they would throw in a joke to try to make it funny. So there were shades of Thor, Marvel Thor, and shades of Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. That type of overall feeling that they're going for. But again, I thought the cast was exceptional.
Yeah.
Sincerely. Like the dude who did He-Man, so I got it in front of me here. If you guys want to look at, I'll open my screen. So you got Nicholas Galitzine, who's not super known yet. He was He-Man. Then you got Camila Mendez Tila, awesome. Idris Elba as Duncan, awesome. Jared Leto, who is not loved by seemingly anyone anymore, played Skeletor. Amazing job. And so Fisto, Rayman, Evelyn, Allison Brie, like just did, I thought was great. I'm not for sure why this movie isn't connecting at least to the point of like,
well, give it another week or two.
Sequel worthy.
Give another week or two, kind of see if it picks up,
I'm hoping that there will be good, a second week. And that's what you got to look for, because there's always a drop-off, almost always a drop-off. If you have an increase in the second week, that is so good. But there's typically drop-off, and it's usually how big is the drop-off. So if it made $30 million in North America, and there's a drop-off to like 20 or 15, now you're only at not even 50 million for the North American side of things. I don't know. I think it's great, guys. I think it's really good. I thought. Let me just. We're going to spend almost 10 minutes here on it, but Trapjaw, like he's awesome. Like the fight scenes, again. I think the complaint could be for some people. Merman wasn't in there. Or
there's
some characters that were like, I'm sure people be like, oh, I wanted him to be in there. I wanted so-and-so to be in there. But they got the main characters in there. They had He-Man. They had Tila. They had Man-at-Arms. They had He-Man's parents in there, King Randor and his mom in there. They had Skeletor. They had Evelyn. They had Beastman, Cyclops. They had what they can get in there. And
right. Can't get too many people in there.
I think they technically had 25 was the count.
Well, see, the reason why you had so many characters back in the 80s because they had a cartoon series. You had like seasons. Well, season and a half, but still, you can go an episode with this. But in the movie, you only got like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, you can't fit all because each character you put in there, now you've got to add to the story, development, and all that stuff. So like it adds time.
Yeah, this is the only spoiler I'll give. Okay, so at the end credit scene. Quick, no, you're fine. Come on, just a quick pop of She-Ra. Okay, that's all. Right. So that doesn't really spoil the movie part, but they got places to go too. That's what I'm saying. I think how awesome. I'm at least hoping for one more. I think a He-Man She-Ra combo, would be awesome. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and maybe that's the main thing is that it doesn't really speak to. But you think there'd be enough of us older dudes to carry this thing to 100 million for
if they wait 20 more years, we're all going to be in nursing homes. We ain't going to be able to remember any of that stuff.
Yeah, and the theater I went to was full, for the most part full.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's let's not say great. That might be an exaggeration for some, but really good.
Yeah.
Really, like again,
good
I'm going to go see it twice with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I probably would go see it a third time. For sure, when it comes on streaming, I'll be like, let's get some wings and the dudes together and watch it again.
Yeah. Get DVD or something. You know?
I'll say this might be partially offensive, and we will really move on. The newest Superman, did you see the newest Superman?
No, didn't see that one.
A lot of people love that movie. It's as good as that one to me.
Yeah.
So
I have not. I have not watched it yet. I need to go buy it because I know that
it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I just get DVD.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. So there we go. Masters of the Universe. I have more good to say than bad for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's worthy of a watch. I think it's if you're of that generation, I think you'll just don't get too critical.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know, did I have the rose-colored glasses on? Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be somewhat critical too. So there we go.
Well, I say it's Pastor Jeremiah approved. Go watch it.
Yeah. Over to you.
Okay, so I don't know if are you a big fan of the mug root beer?
I prefer A&W the best. Yeah. There's actually, if I'm going to be snobbish, if I'm sitting in a hot tub in winter in Minnesota with my brother-in-law, we would always go Henry Weiner's.
Oh yeah.
You ever had Henry Weiner's?
Never heard.
That's like $8 for a 6-pack type of upper level. Expensive root beer. But the common everyday man root beer, A&W first, mug second.
See, I'm a Barks person. I love Barks. Barks is my favorite.
That one too. Yeah.
So I would say Barks, and then I actually like A&W and Mug are kind of tied for a second, but I do like Mug. I mean, Mug's a pretty decent root beer brand. They're actually coming out with a brand new limited edition flavor on June 14th.
Okay.
Sounds interesting.
Limited edition flavors always interesting.
Right. And so it's called the Mug Root Beer Floats Vanilla Howler.
Okay.
It'll be available in a 12-ounce can or 20-ounce bottle on June 14th. So I'm actually kind of excited to go try it. It says, the first ever limited edition brings together the bold, rich taste of mug root beer with a smooth, creamy vanilla flavor to capture that classic root beer float experience.
I feel like we've done a lot of drink reviews on our YouTube shorts for Christian Men's Illustrated, and I think we keep coming up with the same conclusion. Good, but I like the original better, and I keep saying that, so I feel like I want to stop doing them. Because Casey's has a Dr. Pepper, which both of us like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I'm a Mountain Dew guy first, but there's a Dr. Pepper coconut cream.
Yeah, I tried that. Yeah.
You tried it? Did you review it you have to review it for the channel.
Yeah, I'd say the creamy coconut, when I first opened and smelled it, it smelled like sunscreen.
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm at a beach and there's a bunch of people with sunblock on with Hawaiian, what do they call it? That one sunblock on, and taste wise, I would say it's about to me it was like 6.5 or 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I other than the OG root beer, the OG the Dr. Pepper, the one I would reach for would be the blackberry. Dr.
Blackberry.
Pepper. That was good.
That is a memorable. It's very even. I can't think to my mind right now. If you say, Jeremiah, what's your favorite secondary Mountain Dew? I guess Pitch Black. There you go. I do have it. I do have a reference point. But other sodas, like I don't know, they're all just whatever. But that Dr. Pepper Blackberry hit hard in a good way. Like that was a good one. I'm not sure what that was about because the Mountain Dew just came out with the Blackberry.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like interesting, but the Dr. Pepper Blackberry was.
Yeah, I remember the first time. Yeah, the first time I ever had Dr. Pepper. The first time I tasted it, first it tasted like cough syrup, but then it was good.
Yeah. You'll have to wait. I will give you that advice. Any soda should drink less soda, I guess. But you got to wait 5 seconds, right? Because if you just go with that first 1 or 2 seconds, you got to let the aftertaste hit, then give your review.
Yep.
And even maybe embrace it for a little bit. Because if you just go right away, you can't get the full experience. You got to be like, okay, let me drink it. Okay, wait. 1, 2. I don't count 5 seconds or something like that. But yeah, you got to get the aftertaste because it's deceptive. Sometimes you take that first drink and it's like, no. But then like 5 seconds, it's like, wait.
Wow, it is yummy. Nice, yeah.
Sometimes reverse. Sometimes it's like you drink it and like, oh, this is pretty good. And then like bam, not so good. So
that would be the sin. That was it. The what was it? The one that Mountain Dew had with the fiery hot. Was it the flaming hot Cheeto, flaming hot Mountain Dew? Remember that?
Yeah.
Years back.
Yep.
I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. So there you go. We'll have to try that one out. I'm always down. Like you know, like I said, I always pay attention to the apps if I can get like a lot of times. Casey's or some of these gas stations, if you have the app, you can get when there's a new soda like that, it'll be really cheap or free or something like that. So
awesome.
But definitely none of these flavors am I buying a 12-pack, 24-pack,
right,
etc.
All right. Well, this is more of a serious article, and this is kind of like oh man, it's kind of hard. This obviously we got been at war with Iran for the last 5 or 6, who knows how it's been going on for a while. But this story is Israel strikes Iran military targets after Iranian missile attack. And obviously Iran threw a missile attack. Trump really didn't want, wanted to keep Israel from attacking Iran, but Israel's like, no, we're not going to let them attack us. And so it goes on this subject about I call it the non-ceasefire. Yep. It's like the ceasefire that nobody sees firing.
Yes.
And so this is and again I'm trying to be critical. Again, I'm trying to thread it in not to be too critical. I don't want to be critical, but I'm like, I know it's like probably a lot of people getting frustrated. It's like
I am for sure. I'd raise my hand and be like, I'm frustrated.
I was like, I'm frustrated. It's like, dude, man, it's like, see this ceasefire is like, there's no ceasefire, man.
Yeah.
The ceasefire means nobody's firing, and if they're still firing, there's no ceasefire. It's like why are we? I'm like everybody's like, dude, finish the job, but I'm like, so it's getting.
I mean, what's finished the job at this point? Nuclear weapon?
Well,
I mean,
it's hard
to finish the job.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, that's good. Well, like I said,
putting troops on the ground, government takeover, nuclear weapon. Finish the job is.
Well, finish the job is you end the threat that Iran is posing. But the problem is you can't end the threat while they have the regime still in charge and still people fighting. Right. I mean, we can tell they've hammered the regime, but the IRGC, the brown shirts over there in Iran are still following orders. They're still doing so. Militarily, the only way that you're going to end the threat is to take out the regime, and then the problem is this goes back to the Iraq and Afghanistan where we did that and. We end up being there for 20 years or whatever and in this wars. And so, I mean, I understand. I mean, President Trump's in a pretty precarious position because if he puts boots on the ground, we're there for 20 years.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's going to go very south and sour for his base. So, and then the other hand, if he doesn't put boots on the ground, we're just going to be flinging bullets and missiles for the next 20 years. Because these guys, Iran's not going to stop flinging. They're going to stick their. They're going to create havoc over there as long as until we cave in and give them everything they want. Yeah,
I'm trying to find that book that I want to read. There's one called Nuclear Winter. I don't think that's one that I'm referencing, but I listened to a couple podcasts on. It's super fascinating and scary on like what would happen if a nuclear weapon was launched in the next 30 minutes, what the world would look like. It was so scary.
Yeah, it's
because here's what I will definitively say, which the point she brought up, which I completely agree with, is that when these type of wars happen, usually what happens is we escalate to de-escalate, right? So if let's say here's the reality. I think this is the absolute reality. If China launches a nuclear weapon at us, okay. What's our response? Do we say, let's just let it hit and it's totally fine and we'll, the dead people will be the dead people and then we'll go to the negotiation table and just have peace. Is that going to happen?
No.
What's going to happen?
They'll fling them back.
Right? We'll fling it back.
Yeah,
so
nobody
it's like
wins.
You shoot one, we shoot two. We shoot two, right? Escalate to de-escalate. So this is typically the military mindset. It's not like, hey, we're going to let you have that nuke on us. Like I know you nuked New York, right? But we're just going to let that one land, explode, and then we'll have peace and all be great. Nope, it's not going to happen. It's going to start launching, and then what happens to the world? The world could almost end. And I think that's very, again, we're Christians. We have a Christological framework in our minds. We know that God is in control. I'm not saying that. We know that, Jesus is the king over humanity, and he has an end times plan, and he's coming back. But I'm just saying it is very scary to process that, to be like, if we start launching nuclear weapons, it's not going to just, or Iran, right? Iran. Yeah. If we launch one at them, are they going to be like, okay, it's fine? Escalate to de-escalate is a very real thing when it comes to.
The issue with Iran is deeper because Iran has ties with China and Russia.
Yeah.
Like Iraq and Afghanistan and Iraq did not. So, we went into Afghanistan, we gutted them out. Iran and China, Iran, China, and Russia really didn't care. They didn't really get involved. But Iran's a different story because Iran is deeply partnered with Russia.
Yep.
They're also deeply partnered with China. China gets a lot of their oil from Iran.
Yep.
So does, I would imagine Russia does as well. So, problem is, if we just hypothetically speaking, we decide let's drop a nuke on Tehran and be done with them.
Yeah.
Well, that now you potentially bring two big big powers into the play, who might not like that idea. So you're threading. It's a really hard. I do not envy President Trump. Right. I do not envy him.
Yeah, I don't have the answers either. I'm just saying that's a very us being conservative Christians and right wing. We're Republicans. Yeah. Okay, so the thing they're shouting at is just end it. Would you just say end it or
finish it? Yeah.
Finish it, right? And that's what I'm saying. What does that mean?
Like, but our emotions, you see the news, like we want to get an agreement, and I'm like, it's not
going to happen.
And I get frustrated because I'm not, I support President Trump, and obviously he's got to do what he's got to do, but I'm like, these guys are they see this, the Iranian government, they see, and this is the radical Islam, in general, they see agreement as a weapon to use against you.
Right.
They never come into it with good faith. They even if they agree to everything that we said that they'll do, they'll be doing the opposite before the ink even dries.
Right.
So that they're using, it's like the ceasefire. Okay, now they're using a ceasefire. They're going to build back up. They're going to build back up everything we took out.
Yeah.
And while we ceasefire, they haven't ceasefire. So it's like there's no ceasefire.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so you get emotionally, you get kind of frustrated. It's like we've had American people die already over there.
Yes. And
so my frustration would be, and this is of course, this is me personally talking as a human being, as an American. It's like we have not finished a conflict properly since World War II. We're still at war with Korea. We bowed out at Vietnam. Iraq, it's back. Afghanistan's still back. It's back into Taliban control. Every conflict we got to, we got out and it going. So all those lives that were lost. What were they lost for?
Yeah, it feels like to me we're going to have to bow out. We're going to have to figure out. Trump's going to have to, in his narcissistic mind, figure out a way that he somehow has won in his brain, but.
Well, Congress.
Wow,
well, you see what Congress last week already voted to limit the war power. So now he's getting more political pressure. Like he's doing. I think his window of opportunity is starting to close on him.
Yeah, and we're good with this. Like, I enjoy talking about this stuff, but one thing so I like Megyn Kelly, her podcast. I think she's pretty neutral overall. She's centered but right and conservative in almost all of her beliefs, but. I think she made a great point. She was on Sean Ryan's podcast, which I like Sean Ryan. A lot of people think he's just conspiratorial, bad person. But she brought up the war was one of the remaining areas that he could kind of have a lot of freedom to do whatever he wanted to do. And that's why he chose to really get involved with the Iran thing. So what she was bringing up was like, hey, he's kind of limited with this power and how he can change America, economics. You know what I'm saying? That there's a limit to what you can do as a president, but his window of opportunity to kind of do whatever he wanted to from a foreign perspective was much more open.
Yeah.
So her perspective is like, well, I think he kind of like, hey, I can have not fun, but I can do more and have the freedom to do whatever I want more in this particular area, meaning the foreign thing. Well, now what's happening? He's getting the reins pulled back in, and he's going to struggle to have the freedom to do. Well, everything we're doing right now, he didn't go through Congress, Senate, etc. Right.
Well, the War Powers Act was in the early 70s. I mean, the Constitution itself gives the president authority to act when America is under threat.
Yes.
But I mean, obviously, there's checks and balances. I mean, obviously, there's checks and balances, and the founders put checks and balances in for a reason to keep one branch from getting too powerful. To be able to just run.
It's almost like, I guess we should have, my opinion, which is much easier said than done. We're not sitting in the rooms with these meetings. Right. Which, listen, I'm in leadership meetings at times that are, lots of fun. But I was satisfied when we sent the B-2s over and did the bunker buster and did all that kind of stuff. I thought that was good, satisfactory. We limited. I don't know.
I mean, I know for a fact I don't care anybody says Iran was pursuing a nuclear weapon, and these guys would have used it once they developed it, and they would have used it on Israel first. I mean, I'm
comfortable.
One nuke, dude. Like, they don't understand. One nuke, Israel's gone.
Yeah, it's
we could take the United States can take about 4 or 5 nukes.
Yes,
Israel, one nuke, they're gone. So they're like and once a missile is launched, it's like to go to Israel, it's like minutes, boom.
Yeah,
and so it's like, and so we don't want these guys to have a nuke, but the thing is, like, within the military, man, it's a hard decision to make. I mean, again, I don't envy President Trump, and it's easy for all of us, who are not in that position to go, we can do this, or we do that, we can do this, but actually be in that position.
And let's give another minute to this, and we'll do some spiritual talk. But Peter Thiel, have you heard of him? Billionaire.
Never heard of him.
So he is a billionaire with PayPal, stuff like this. So you have all these billionaires building bunkers.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg building a huge bunker in Hawaii.
Wow.
And Peter Thiel moved now to New Zealand, has moved himself to New Zealand as his primary residence. And they showed a chart. Okay, this is conspiratorial for sure. But they showed a chart saying that where he's at in New Zealand is out of the way of nuclear launch. Does that make sense?
Not out of range of the fallout.
Right. But
the fallout.
The big conspiracy the last couple of weeks, and some of the YouTubers I follow and podcasts are like, all these guys are like building bunkers and moving to areas where they have a less effect of nuclear war. What should we be thinking about this?
Well, here's the thing.
If they're doing
in a full-out nuclear war, everybody's going to suffer.
That's
I mean, think about it. Where are you going to get your agriculture from?
You just hide under a table and cover your head. You're totally fine.
But anyway, so yeah. But in summary, I'll say, I mean, I would encourage all Christians to pray for President Trump, and it may, pray he would make godly, decisions. And I mean, again, we should always support, pray for our presidents, pray for our leaders. And decisions they have to make, they're not easy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know I'm coming from emotional when it comes to Iran. All that stuff, obviously we have our emotional takes on it, but in the end, we still got to pray for our leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. I'll do a video later on this week. We have the White House card coming up, UFC White House card. That's been controversial. But.
Okay. Yep. Spiritual talk. This comes from our friends up north, Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah.
So looks like
they love Christianity up there. The government.
They ain't gonna live anymore in this.
Yeah.
Well, so proposed Canadian legislation marks Bible as hate speech. So Canada's Bill C-9 has been prohibited. I mean, it's been proposed. It's a bill known as the Combating Hate Act. Passed Canada's House of Commons on March 25th, 2026. Passage to Canada's Senate is almost guaranteed in the coming months. Bill C-9 aims to prevent anyone from blocking access to places of worship, or to make hate-motivated crime a criminal offense, and to criminalize promoting hate against any group by means of public signs or terrorism, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the goals may seem innocuous, but I face so, but the motivations that the framers of the bills underscore what many are calling an anti-religious bias.
The C-9, right?
Yeah,
Is that the C-9?
Canada Bill C-9. A disturbing amendment to the bill removes previous protections for religious liberty that allows practitioners of religions to quote their scriptures in good faith without fear or punishment. The longstanding religious defense of free speech that allows citations of scriptural text of religious traditions in good faith has been ensconced in 319, paragraph 3, paragraph B of the Canadian Criminal Code. So it's going to remove that. So basically, if you're in Canada, this thing passes, you're in Canada, and you quote a Leviticus or any other Bible verse, Romans or Deuteronomy that is not pro homosexual, well, now you're a criminal. They're going to come arrest you.
Department of Justice, Canada. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Canada. Obviously, we know over COVID that pastors and leaders went through a lot during that particular time.
Yeah,
when it came to freedom of gathering, worship.
Well, COVID was
just the liberality of Canada's.
Well, the COVID pandemic was more of a trial balloon. They were testing the waters. They were testing waters when it comes to encroaching on religious freedom and religious gathering and stuff like that.
And that's the pathway, right? The pathway is to say, and here I have it. If you're watching the YouTube channel, here's the website right here through the Canadian Department of Canada, showing you the amendment that they want to make. And that's going to be the thing, right? Is they try to sneak in these type of things and say, no, it's hate speech, and then it keeps us from claiming the truth as followers of Christ.
Yeah, they passed a bill making it, on the surface, it's like, well, who would want to block a place of worship? Then they throw an amendment in there to sneak one in there to remove the protections that Christians have for quoting the Bible. So now you quote the Bible, now you're a criminal. And people like we now say, well, it's just up in Canada. Well, no, the same satanic ideology that's behind what they're doing in Canada is also behind the same people in the United States that will do the same thing if they get the power to do it.
And it's so they generalize stuff, right? That's where the scary part is. They begin to generalize the stuff. So, for example, just some wording. Without reading it super in depth, but overview, Bill C-9, this is from the government website, would amend, let me bounce over here, would amend the criminal code to propose new offenses to better protect access to religious, cultural, and other specified places and to address hate-motivated crimes. The proposed amendments in the bill would create 4 new criminal offenses. An intimidation offense that prohibits conduct that is intended to provoke a state of fear in another person to impede them from accessing religious or cultural institutions in other specified places. So you get what they're doing there, okay? Yeah. Without being conspiratorial, is that they're saying like, oh, it's a hate, right? And no, this is intended to give them access to religion, right? See, that's their spin, right?
Yeah.
So the spin is to say, this is intended to provoke a state of fear in another person to impede them from accessing religious or cultural institutions in other specified places. So their tactic could be homosexual could come into Grace Point, and then I'm preaching. I could just not even preaching. I'm reading the scriptures that addresses that, and they could be like, "Whoa, this is total hate speech. Oh my goodness!" And this has put me in a state of fear as a person. Yeah. And there you go, right?
Click.
And although maybe I don't go to jail, although I don't, maybe in the end I don't get prosecuted criminally, but I pay a bunch of money. Our church is hindered. We shut the doors because it just cripples us financially. I don't know that a lot of people might go to jail, but it'll definitely, right? If we start getting lawsuits, I know this as a pastor who has to deal with insurance. If we start getting lawsuits and have to hire lawyers. Yeah. Listen, Grace Point's not going to last very long.
Yeah, and then we see Europe. There's people getting arrested just for standing. You're just standing in front of an abortion clinic. You're on the sidewalk, public sidewalk. You're not on the property. You're on the sidewalk. You're just standing there, there. Cop says, "What are you doing?" I'm just sitting. I'm just standing here. Are you praying? And then this one was like, "Well, I'm praying in my mind. I wasn't even see when he's speaking." Pray. Click.
Yeah, that's scary.
But that's in the UK and in Canada. All that stuff. It's like, guys, it's coming here.
Yep,
it's coming here. Just you think because again, like I said earlier, the same satanic power that's behind what's going on in Canada and what's going on in the United States is behind a lot of these politicians who are going to push it here if they get the power and majority to do it.
Right. And we can't get comfortable. You know, I found it interesting, again, because we live in a smaller area. We don't live in a large metropolitan area. We're not like in rural area per se. But, you know, we went up to St. Louis, which is a major city in our state.
Yeah.
And you just feel the liberal, it's tangible, right? To me, it's tangible. The liberal spirit, woke culture, you see it just like amped up. And those cities in America, they're controlling the game, if you will, for the most part.
So these big cities, a lot of states, like, Illinois. Illinois is a prime example. You got one city that controls everything for the whole state. Chicago controls everything for the whole state. I mean, you know, there's just not enough voting power in the state to overcome what they do in Chicago. So now Illinois has become California.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Missouri, Kansas City, St. Louis. And you got Columbia, which is, it's a university hub, so it's going to be. Yeah. So it's like all these it's all the big cities that control a lot of
Kansas, even our rural Kansas. Yep. Kansas has a lot of liberal leadership.
Yeah, we got
all because of Lawrence.
Yep.
University,
Kansas.
UK.
Yeah.
Of those universities, and it's scary. So,
but I'm coming to is like what we see in the world, and this is my hunch. It goes off 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 3. It says, "Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perditions." So we see the day of coming is like it's also known as the great apostasy. That's basically a rebellion. You know, in general, a rebellion against the truth, a rebellion against God, and it's worldwide. And you can see it around the world right now. It's like you see it in UK. Every country that was predominantly that would normally founded on Christian principles. There's a rebellion. The United States is a rebellion.
Yeah,
UK's a rebellion. Canada's a rebellion. Europe's a rebellion.
I'm not putting down Tony Evans, but we've kind of talked about this before. We don't really know. We don't know persecution as Christians in America. I mean, even the other day, my wife listens. I don't listen to the radio, Spotify, but my wife was listening to whatever Christian radio station had Tony Evans preaching. And, you know, at the end, it was like, "Thanks for listening to Tony Evans Ministry. You can buy his tapes online." And nothing wrong with that. But I thought the most hilarious part, that was like, wow, this shows you how spoiled we are. Why don't you join Dr. Tony Evans this summer as we take a cruise to the Bahamas? And on our cruise to the Bahamas, you can listen to Dr. Tony Evans ministry all week long. And I was like, wait, I need to do this. Like, I need to like do a cruise for my church to be like, listen, go on the Grace Point cruise this summer to Cabo, and you can listen to Pastor Jeremiah's preaching all week long and be blessed. But this is how blessed we are.
Right.
We're so unpersecuted that we take cruises to listen to the Bible.
Right.
Like, I'm not putting Tony Evans down. I'm just saying, like, this shows you how unpersecuted we are.
Right.
That we have ministries like, come to our cruise and be blessed by the word all week long.
You got one of the great apostates. Like, this is talking about the great apostasy. It's abandonment of the truth, abandonment of rebellion against God. You know, you see, I've read a story about a Presbyterian church, concerning the LGBT stuff. So you got all these different churches. I mean, you had churches apologizing for preaching against homosexuality during the pandemic. It's like, you see, like, it's creeping into a lot of churches.
Yeah. For the sake of this, I'll leave it unnamed, but I went to a church 2 weeks ago that is led by a homosexual pastor. It's not a church that I would ever go back to.
I don't call it a church.
It was for an assignment, but
interesting. I would not call it a church. I mean, God wouldn't call that a church, but
yeah, but it's, there's so many movements and fellowships that are not something I believe in, nor do I participate in, but it was an Episcopal church, by the way. But anyway,
but you see, like, because this is important, because if you read it now, and I believe this is my opinion. You can have a different opinion, but I believe we're in that time where we're in the falling away. I think we're in that period of time where the great falling away is occurring.
Yeah, it's
happening all over the place, and then it says that the falling comes first, and the man of sin is revealed. So the man of sin is revealed with the Antichrist. He's revealed after the rapture. Dude, the rapture. from my understanding, the great apostasy happens, the rapture, then the Antichrist shows up, because we know we know the Antichrist is the first horse of the first judgment of the.
And why wouldn't it be? For example, even as I preached on Sunday, with the extreme levels of biblical illiteracy in our culture, why wouldn't there be a falling away? If we don't know the truth, then churches and pastors and ministries pop up, and you don't know the truth. Like, it's not really a part of your regular life, so you can believe anything, right?
You just brought up another good point, and let me go back here. There's another verse. It's in the New Testament somewhere. Basically, it says about they will look for, they will not
itching ears.
Itching ears. Yep, itching ears.
First John, I think it's First John there.
Because they rejected sound doctrine, that they sought out false teachers who itch their ears, basically tell them what they want to hear. Oh, here it is. Yep, it's for 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables.
Yeah. I also brought up when I was preaching yesterday, watch your life and your doctrine closely.
Yeah.
Meaning there's this repetition of being in God's truth and his word that has to be a regular daily part of our life. Why? Because we're watching our doctrine closely. Yeah. We're watching what is presented to us by culture as truth, and then we hold that up against the word of God, and then that's our discernment to say that's not truth. Why? You just believe the Bible's truth? Yes, this is the standard. This is the truth. And every ideology that is presented to me by culture, by government, by world, by whatever structure is compared to this truth.
Right. That's why this verse is another reason why I believe we're in that great apostasy time, because you got that, and you also, this one really addresses like the false churches, like the false teachers, the false prophets, the false teachers. It's because you have a society that's rejected the truth.
Yeah.
The core doctrine of the Bible, they don't want none of that part. They want something that makes them feel good. They want a spiritual TED talk, or somebody gives them a TED talk or whatever. And so there's no shortage of false teachers to come up meet the demand.
Yeah.
Like I say, a lot of times if you want a 100,000 member congregation, be a false teacher. You won't have to go. You want to go seek them out. They'll seek you out. Come over here, and you just tickle the ears, and the dollar signs flow. And so because they don't want to hear the truth, they've rejected the truth. So they go find a false teacher who'll tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And make them feel good. And so that's why I believe we're in that very last time to do, like, guys, man, I'm like, you see all this going on in the world, Iran, all that stuff, and I'm like, and it's easy to get this despair, but I'm like, dude, Jesus is coming. I'm looking for Jesus.
Yeah. Amen. All right, guys, we appreciate the conversation. Read your Bible, following Jesus, reading the Bible, much more important than Masters of the Universe. But go check it out. It'll be a great movie. And we'll talk to you next time on the podcast.